All right, in this video, we are going to be talking about the melody to You Are My Sunshine. We're going to be playing this in the key of G. We'll also talk about some of the licks and variations that you can explore in TuneFox, and we'll go over some practice strategies and technique tips as well. It's always good to learn the melody when learning a new tune. It is the heart of a tune. Chord changes are based around it. By learning it, we're also kind of learning the form of the tune, right? Where sections stop and where they end. We can also kind of ingest the timing in a really natural way, especially if we try to sing or say the words as we play them. The melody is both a great safety net for your solos, and it's also an excellent launching pads from which we will create variations and explore other licks as well. This one, like I said, is in the key of G. We're only going to be using about 6 notes to play it, so it's not too daunting. It's great for beginners. And this one is great because the melody itself often outlines the chord changes. So it'll be really easy to see why chord changes happen at certain times within this melody. All right, I'm going to play this one twice. The first time I'm just going to play through it so you can see how I'm moving my hands when I'm playing it. The second time I'm going to kind of say the words as I play the notes, maybe even sing a little bit just to demo for you what that would be like. I think it's something great for everyone to do, to be able to sing or speak the words as we play the melody. It's very helpful for your musical development. 1, 2, 3. All right, now gonna maybe sing a little bit, right? As I said, this is very good for your musical development. 1, 2, 3. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. All right, I was singing it there. You might not be comfortable with singing. I'd still encourage you to try it. But even if you don't want to do that, just speaking it will be really good for you. I'm going to play through it like that for an example now. 1, 2, 3. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. All right, as I said, it's very good for your musical development. It's also great for your memory, being able to tie the times that we move to a different note or the timing of the melody itself with the words, right, when we say them as we play them. It's really good. Because even if we're not singing it, we might not be getting making a connection with our voice of like when these pitches go up and down, but we will be making a connection with the timing of a melody. And melodies aren't just about where pitches go up and down, right? Melodies have a kind of identity to them, not only through their pitch movement, but through rhythmic patterns. All right, so as an example, I'm going to count this and I'm going to clap it as I count it. And those claps would be like where I would be playing this melody. So you will be able to see and hear the rhythmic pattern and the rhythmic identity of this tune. Right, so I'm going to be using 1, 2, 3, 4, but also counting something called eighth notes. I'm going to count those with an and in between each of those numbered beats. Okay, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so you can see there's a real pattern emerging, right? A lot of the times we're counting and 4 and 1 and 2. That rhythmic pattern happens a lot, so that's a big part of the rhythmic identity of the melody for You Are My Sunshine. All right, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the tune, but also just want to give you a practice suggestion. So anytime you get out your banjo to practice this tune, listen to the TuneFox player a few times and kind of read and scan over the tablature and kind of imagine playing it while you're reading through. This kind of mental practice is really great for your musical development. Also, just make a playlist with some of the songs that you're learning and try to listen to them regularly. Sing along if you can, or just speak along sometimes. Memorizing the words helps so much for internalizing so many different musical elements at once. Okay, so now most of you know that whenever we're in open G tuning with a banjo, all of those open strings, when we play them, gives us a G chord, right? And a lot of the times in the melody, we're moving around some, but these main melody notes where it kind of hits a note and holds it are on one of these open strings, all right? For example, starting out, it's on that B string note, part of the G chord, right? So at that moment, if you have someone accompanying you, they would be playing a G chord. A little bit more movement, right? We're doing some fretted notes and kind of bouncing around, but those big notes, those long notes, landing again on that G note, right? We're going to be playing a G chord there. Right there, we've got some big changes. The big important melody notes there, right, the ones that we're holding, are on some different fretted notes. And if you pay close attention and you know some basic chords, you can see that this is clearly outlining a C chord. So this is a good thing to kind of notice when learning a melody, right? If we can see some of the patterns and see how some of these notes connect to chord notes, sometimes we can figure out the chords just by what's happening in the melody. All right. Now, the pick hand indications for this song are there to sort of train you up and get you used to the common pick hand fingerings that we'll use when playing Scruggs style banjo. However, if you're a super beginner, this can be just one more thing that kind of complicates things and makes it harder for you. So if you want to, we could really play this entire melody just with our thumb, right? And that would actually be great practice for picking with our thumb. You're still going to have to switch strings, right? There's still going to be a challenge. Or you can do it all with your index finger, okay? So you have some options here to kind of simplify things, and there's no bad options, right? We're still going to be playing the banjo. We're still going to be practicing and working out the different fingers there in our pick hand. And the same would go for your fretting hand. There's some basic fret hand suggestions that are there to sort of lay some foundations, to use the common fret hand fingerings that will be like what we would use for a C chord, for example, but really for a lot of these, like, we could use slightly different fingers if we wanted to make things easier and more comfortable if we're at a more beginner stage. The most important thing here really is good timing. We really want to be listening regularly to memorize how this sounds, and when you're able to kind of play the notes in succession pretty smoothly, be playing with that TuneFox player at a speed you can handle, and play repetitively to really try to get it down. The other thing technique-wise that we need to think about is finger preparation, right, with our pick hand and with our fretting hand. So before I start this song, right, I've already got my thumb on the 4th string because that's the first note that I'm going to play. And then if you notice, I've also got my index finger on the 2nd string, right? Because the first couple of notes are on the D and G string, right? But when we get to measure 1, that first big important melody note is on the 2nd string. So I've kind of prepared that index finger long before I needed it, right? And there's going to be a lot of that needs to be done as you go through this. So you've kind of got to look through Know what's coming ahead to be moving fingers and get them into place before you need them there, right? That finger preparation is a really big part to playing things smoothly. And that's going to go for your fret hand as well. So for example, the first two notes in this for the pickup notes, right, they're open. But that third note is a fretted note. So I've already got my middle finger curled up and over top of both the fret and the string, right? It's ready before I need it there. Right. Go back and watch through when I'm playing this and notice those moments when I'm kind of preparing my pick hand and my fret hand so you can get an idea of what you'll need to do to play this thing smoothly. All right, definitely after you get the basic melody down, explore some of those licks. We've got some options here. The ones that are labeled 3-finger will use 3 fingers of the pick hand, but they're super simple. They're not going to require any, a lot of extra speed for our picking hand for you to play them. They are going to incorporate some extra notes, some fill-in notes that aren't the basic melody to help give us a fuller sound and start exercising that hand, but they're not going to be too demanding, so they're a great thing to add in for beginners. And those 3-finger licks, while they're not a lot harder, they are actually training you to play what's known as the foggy mountain roll. It just doesn't quite sound like it because we're playing it at half the speed, but like I said, it's going to allow you to get that exercise, play this song at a speed that's not too hard for you, and be training your hands at the same time to play some more complex Scruggs stuff down the road. Some of the Scruggs riffs incorporate rolls, right? And these do demand some extra speed from our picking fingers. So sometimes when trying to incorporate them, we might need to learn them at a slower speed, and we might need to actually play the whole song at a slower speed in order to be able to incorporate them and keep steady timing. I'm going to play through this with 2 different licks selected so you can kind of get an idea for what these different licks might sound like and see what you might want to try out. So I have the 3-finger lick for measure 2 selected, and I've also got the Scruggs lick for measure 4 selected. Here's what that would sound like. As you can see, that Scruggs lick demanded quite a bit more speed from the picking hand. So practice it by itself, like I said, at a slower speed. But one of the things that is going to help you with speed is that pick hand and that finger preparation that I was talking about, right? So when it came time for me to do this roll, which is all on the 5th, 2nd, and 1st string, guess what? I had those fingers on those strings or right around those strings before I needed them there, right? So right after I did those little pickup notes that walk into measure 4, I didn't leave my thumb down here, right? I prepared it and got it over top of that 5th string, and even got my 1st finger a little bit closer to the 2nd string, and same thing with my middle finger being close to the 1st string. So it was ready to go. That will help you with your speed big time. All right, so we got a great basic melody here for you guys to tackle. Some cool licks to check out. We know that we need to make listening part of our practice regularly. And we also talked about how singing and speaking the words can help so much, and also counting and clapping along. You might want to kind of rewind and go back and do that with me as well. It's something very simple but very effective. All right, next step, maybe try out some more licks and then maybe check out this melody in the key of C. It's really good to learn the same melody in multiple keys out of multiple chord shapes. It's great for your understanding of the fretboard on the banjo. All right, that's all we have today for the melody on You Are My Sunshine. Keep picking and stay tuned.